I reincarnated as a common sparrow, but because of my dad's muscle weakness, I faint every time I try to evolve, failing instantly. Everyone mocked me, yet the god-tier school beauty chose me the moment we met. She formed a contract with me. Classmates mocked her for binding a fainting chicken that even crickets could pluck bare. But she didn't care. Reincarnated herself, she knew taming beasts was way too expensive. In her past life, she blew her family's fortune raising a Tier 4 beast. Later, she luckily found a sword, immortal emblem, unlocking her second class. In 10 years, she hit level 90, but she ran out of time. Level 100 monsters descended, and she couldn't stop them. Now, reincarnated with her sword immortal emblem, she's focusing entirely on her sword class. She never planned to invest in me. I was just a pet. But what no one knew was that the moment she contracted me, I awakened a god-tier devouring system. I get stronger just by eating. This tiny bird will become a blazing phoenix. Right now, Micai carried me home. After a quick bite, she sat cross-legged on the couch to fuse her sword immortal emblem. She tossed some cheap, low-grade beast feed into my bowl. Seeing food, I immediately dove in and started devouring it. Who cares if it's low-grade? If it gives me evolution points, it's gold. Suddenly, a system notification chimed in my head. Ding, consumed low-grade wild boar meat. Evolution points met for your first evolution. Initiate now. No hesitation. My answer was a solid yes. Instantly, a boiling wave erupted inside me, surging through my veins. Along with this intense melting warmth, a familiar dizziness hit me hard. Oh no, it's my genetic muscle weakness. Last time this dizziness cut off my evolution, making me a laughingstock. I clenched my beak, fighting the spinning darkness with everything I had. I collapsed on the couch, gripping my claws, forcing myself through the evolution. Micai, having just fused her emblem, turned around and saw me curled up. She rubbed her forehead and teased, well, sleeping already. Classic sparrow. But she quickly noticed something off. The energy inside me was skyrocketing and a faint evolutionary glow surrounded me. Is he actually evolving, she muttered, though her mind instantly dismissed it. A common sparrow's racial limit is hard-capped. No evolution could change much. Time passed. 2 hours later, I woke up from the evolutionary afterglow and immediately opened the system panel. Race sparrow, grade low, talent glutton. The only bummer was my race hadn't changed yet. Quite a headache. While I was sighing, Micai gently placed me on her shoulder to head out. Putting on her shoes, she called out, "Mom, Dad, the school's newbie dungeon opens today. I'm taking Gungun." She shut the door and left. Inside, her parents exchanged worried, anxious glances. "Do you think our girl will be okay? Gungun is just a weak sparrow. He might not even beat a level 1 monster." The old couple sighed, blaming themselves for not buying her a decent beast. Hearing we were heading to the newbie dungeon, I got incredibly excited. While others were clueless, I knew Micai was a reincarnated powerhouse with a dual class limit. With her, I had nothing to worry about. She would do the heavy lifting, and I'd just lazily devour monster corpses to level up. What a dream duo. First, Micai took me to a shop, spending over 3,000 credits on an iron sword. Then we boarded the school bus heading to the dungeon entrance. A massive crowd of students had already gathered there, buzzing with excitement. Suddenly, a sickening voice echoed nearby. Well, Micai, you really contracted with this fainting chicken." The speaker was G. Boda, a notorious rich kid. His dad was a famous Tier 4 beast tamer. Patting the shadow wolf beside him, he bragged arrogantly, "This is a level 58 potential shadow wolf my dad bought me. It could swallow a dozen trash birds like yours in one bite." With a greasy look, he smirked, "Be my girlfriend and I'll carry you inside. I'll guarantee you first place. Think about it." An icy glare flashed in Micai's eyes. In her past life, this scumbag, rejected and furious, lured her parents into a high-risk dungeon where they died horribly in the mouths of monsters. This life, she would show no mercy. This dungeon would be his grave. "Save it!" Jiboda Micai snapped, pointing her sword at him. On her shoulder, I chirped angrily at Jiboda and his shadow wolf. Sure, I just evolved and wasn't a match yet, but revenge is a dish. Best served any time. Once I evolve a few more times, I'll swallow that wolf whole. While I worried Micai might act rashly, the teacher's voice broke the tension. "Line up and enter." Micai immediately sheathed her sword and followed. She knew she wasn't strong enough to take out Jiboda publicly yet. His dad was an influential Tier 4 beast tamer. This debt would be settled slowly with interest. As Micai stepped through the portal, dizziness washed over me. When I opened my eyes, we were in a dark forest. A pack of spiky dog-like monsters bared their teeth. Spike Hounds level 2. Skill. Spike charge. No way I can beat them. I quickly fluttered to a nearby branch to clear the battlefield. Why fight when I have a reincarnated sword immortal? I just need to eat. Her eyes sharp, sword ready, she flashed forward, diving into the pack. Sword light flashed, accompanied by agonizing whimpers. In moments, over a dozen spike hounds fell dead. A golden light flashed around her, signaling she hit level 2. Watching this, I was amazed, as expected of a reincarnated powerhouse. She's a literal grinding machine. I immediately dove down next to a hound's corpse and opened my beak to devour. Ding, congratulations. Host consumed level 2 spike hound. Gained 3 evolution points, plus 3 EXP. My eyes lit up. One hound gave 3 evolution points and EXP to level up. Talk about a free lunch. I started stuffing my face. Soon a dozen hounds were in my belly. Ding Host currently has 36 evolution points. Level increased to 2. Micai watched me devour hound corpses, multiple times my size, her shock obvious. In her 2 lifetimes, she'd never seen a common sparrow eat a dozen monsters in one go. Then she led me deeper into the dungeon. Micai was like a hurricane, using her future knowledge and sword immortal strength to easily one-shot low-level monsters. Her level skyrocketed, reaching level 4. I followed closely behind, eating like crazy. My eating speed could barely keep up with her killing pace. Honestly, getting carried by a powerhouse feels amazing. Hours later, I hit level 4 and gathered 98 evolution points. Just 2 more to trigger my second evolution. As we pushed on, Micai suddenly froze, staring ahead. A massive spider surrounded by weird purple mist glared at us. Purple Mist Demon, Spider level 6, Dungeon Boss. Skills, Purple Mist. Paralysis, Poison, Fang Web Bind. Micai's expression turned cautious. Although this level 6 boss was tough, as a sword immortal, she was no joke. Still, the spider made my heart race. I knew I couldn't beat it alone. Time to rely on my cheat code partner. I'd just wait to eat the corpse and evolve. Micai shot forward like lightning, her sword whistling as cold sword energy pierced the boss. Every slash flashed with chilling light. Although the spider fought back, it kept retreating under her rapid, precise strikes, suffering wound after wound. Meanwhile, G-Boda and his shadow wolf were wandering nearby. Sensing the combat, they crept over and peeked. Seeing Micai fighting a level 6 boss hand-to-hand and dominating G-Boda was shocked. Wait, isn't she a beast tamer? Why is her physical combat stronger than a warrior's? But his shock quickly turned into greed. Who cares? This is a level 6 boss with insane EXP and rare drops. I must steal it. He patted his shadow wolf's head and whispered, "Wait for my signal, then we strike and kill." Hovering in the air, I had already spotted G-Boda and his shadow wolf hiding in the bushes. Talk about bad luck. They dared to steal our kill, I sneered. Perfect time to settle old scores. Let me teach you how to behave. At level 4 with 1 evolution, my base stats might be lower than an adult shadow wolf, but this one is only level 2. Beating it is child's play. As for G-Boda, he's just a spoiled beast tamer who relies entirely on his pet. Without it, he's useless trash. Just then, Micai's battle was ending. Under her fierce strikes, the spider's health bottomed out. Seeing this, G-Boda screamed, "Shadow Wolf attack." The wolf leaped out like a black blur, aiming directly at Micai's back. Suwang's eyes turned terrifyingly cold. I should have settled this with you long ago. Delivering yourself right to me. Perfect saves me the trouble. Right then, a figure dived from the sky so fast it left only an afterimage. That figure was me. I stared at that incredibly arrogant shadow wolf, my eyes flashing with playfulness. "Hey, grandson, your grandpa is right here." With a fierce flap of my wings, 2 razor-sharp air slashes blasted out at extreme speed. Everywhere they swept was decimated, the air shrieking with a sonic boom. Before the shadow wolf could even react, the blades hit his body head-on, slamming him hard into the ground as dust erupted. Those eyes, once glowing with eerie light, dimmed instantly. His body twitched a few times and went completely still, dead as a doornail. Ding devoured. Level 2, Shadow Wolf Soul. Gained 10 evolution points. Ding current evolution points reached 100. Initiate second evolution. Now Micai witnessed this, her eyes shining with pure joy. She was actually worried I would get hurt. Who knew I would one-shot that beast G-Boda, seeing his expensive wolf get insta-killed by the worthless bird he had mocked 1,000 times, watched his smugness turn to pure terror. He turned to run, but Micai decisively ordered Gungun stop him. I chirped happily in response, and flapped my wings, sending another air slash screaming forward. The little trash did not even have a chance to dodge. Instantly his legs were sliced, and he rolled on the ground like a bloody ball, screaming in agony. With one quick strike, Micai finished off the near-dead spider, then pointed her sword at G-Boda. Holding her dripping blade, she stepped closer. blood dripping onto the ground like a death countdown. Jibota was so terrified he wet his pants. Ignoring the agonizing pain in his legs, he groveled and begged, "Spare me, lady, I was wrong. Please let me go." Micai stepped close, looking down coldly with zero mercy in her eyes. "In our past life, you killed my parents. This time, I am not letting you go. And your father? I will take his head myself." A cold flash blood splattered everywhere, and Jibota fell, completely lifeless. Eyes wide, dead Micai really is a reborn powerhouse, so ruthless and decisive. I flapped my wings and landed on her shoulder, enjoying this satisfying scene with only one word in mind: awesome. Next, I dived down beside the corpse. Devouring a human body was gross, but for evolution points I had to endure. Ding devoured level 2 human corpse, gained 5 evolution points. Ding devoured level 6 gluttony demon spider corpse, gained 38 evolution points. Ding. Current evolution points reach 500. Initiate third evolution. Now. Holy cow, completely filled. System evolve me. I chose to evolve immediately. With Micai guarding, I had zero fear of being ambushed. I just focused on evolving. The familiar searing heat washed over me even more intense than before. Since I could not resist, I just relaxed and enjoyed it. Micai stood nearby, completely stunned, screaming in her head, "This guy's evolving again. That is 3 times today. This dust-down finch is insane." Though shocked, she still believed my species limit was too low. Even if I kept evolving, I would never amount to much. She still planned to focus on her Sword Immortal class, keeping me as a side pet to hide her second class. I did not know her thoughts. I just felt like my body was about to explode from this raw power. As the burning faded, my body doubled in size. My original grayish fluff turned into a deep silver with a metallic gleam. My species finally changed. I slowly opened my eyes and checked my panel. Species Silver-Wing Gale Finch. Level 5, potential 20, talent glutton. Advanced skill void. Slash releases high-intensity wind blades, doubling my cutting power and attack range. Sandstorm flap wings to unleash a dust storm blinding enemies and dealing continuous physical damage. Next evolution, 1,000 points. I was so excited I almost shrieked. I am finally no longer that useless pet dust-down finch. My skills advanced, plus I got a crowd control god skill, Sandstorm. This evolution was a massive win. Micai noticed my change, examining me thoughtfully. Silver-Wing Gale Finch Gungun really is different from ordinary variants, gaining 5 levels and evolving 3 times. The entire Beast Academy has nothing like me. It was about time. Micai in high spirits led me out of the dungeon. We slipped away. Jibota's death would surely drive his dad, Shao Kun, absolutely insane with rage, but they wouldn't trace it to her yet. She had to train hard for the coming storm. Let's go, Gungun. Let's get our beast tamer certification. Micai smiled down the street, her fingers gently caressing my feathers. A Silver-Wing Gale Finch was no top-tier beast, but it was leagues above garbage like a dust-down finch. The Tier 1 exam should be easy. Soon we arrived at the Beast Taming Center. The spacious lobby was packed with long lines winding in front of the counters. Micai led me to a shorter queue, waiting patiently. Finally, it was her turn. She stepped up and handed her ID to the registrar, who reviewed the files, looking increasingly puzzled. "Miss, the Tier 1 test requires fighting a Level 5 monster. For your Gale Finch to pass, it won't be easy." He never expected a newly awakened kid to apply for certification on day 1. Beast Tamers have 9 tiers corresponding to monster levels. Though the Tier 1 exam is simple, just survive 5 minutes against a Level 5 beast, it is still tough without good synergy unless your beast is way over-leveled. With a low-class beast like a Gale Finch, it is even harder. Seeing Micai stay silent, the staff member sighed softly. "But if you insist, we won't stop you." Micai smiled politely, her eyes completely firm. "I have confidence. Please set up the test." The staff member then led us toward the back testing arena. Just then, a harsh sneer came from nearby. "Oh, look, our school beauty Micai, an S-class talent paired with a useless little chick. What a match!" My feathers puffed up in pure rage. If I could speak right now, I would have roasted them into oblivion. Micai remained calm, completely ignoring their taunts, and walked straight into the massive testing arena. The staff member smiled mysteriously and worked the console for a moment, then said, "A beast will appear shortly. You just need to survive with your Gale Finch for 3 minutes to pass." Micai nodded and led me to the center. I warily scanned our surroundings, fully prepared for battle. Suddenly the ground split open and a terrifying aura washed over us. A massive demon tree wrapped in thick vines rose from the depths. It was the Ghost Vine Matriarch, level 12 elite boss. Strength 65, speed 25, defense 85, spirit 75. Skills Vine Bind, poison, spit, life drain, and regen. When Micai saw this monster's stats, her eyes flashed with shock. This is wrong. The Tier 1 exam is supposed to be a level 5 monster. Why did they set up a level 12 elite boss? I was equally stunned. Her stats were 4 times mine, and her defense was ridiculously high. How could we fight this? No doubt that old bastard Zhao Kun did this. Unable to find his son's killer, he wanted to use the exam to execute Micai. As she quickly plotted a strategy, the matriarch suddenly attacked. Her vines grew rapidly, sweeping toward Micai and me like a tidal wave. Gungun, watch out, Micai slashed her hand, a blue sword energy, cutting precisely through the incoming vines. But my reaction gave her a massive shock. I was fast as lightning, weaving through the vine gaps like a silver stream of light. I screeched, showing off my superb flight skills through the dense net of vines. Not a single one could touch my feathers. Flapping my wings, I shot out several wind blades. The invisible void slashes sliced sharp arcs in the air, rapidly cleaving the vines to open a path for Micai. The matriarch shrieked in pain. Dark green sap dripped from the severed vines, sizzling on the floor and instantly burning deep pits into the ground. Micai was thrilled. She unleashed sword slashes to clear the regenerating vines while advancing with me to close the gap. Great job, Gungun. Keep up this rhythm. With her sword spinning like a whirlwind, she followed my path, rushing the matriarch. I was moving too fast to be seen, leaving only a silver flash, darting crazily through the thick vines as they snapped around us. Thick vines snapped, one after another, with loud crashes. In the control room, the staff watching the screen nearly dropped their jaws. How could a normal Gale Finch have such insane speed and reaction power? Could it really be a legendary top-tier variant? Realizing we were closing in, the matriarch retracted her vines, tightly shielding her core. But I suddenly flapped my wings wildly, whipping up a miniature sandstorm. In the empty arena, countless grains of sand suddenly appeared, spinning rapidly to form a storm 5 meters wide. This move completely stunned everyone watching our exam. Even I was startled. Since when was a Gale Finch's sandstorm skill this insanely powerful? Someone in the crowd cried out, eyes wide, this sandstorm skill can actually create a real sandstorm. And it is growing. As I keep flapping my wings, the power stacks. Rocks whipped up like bullets are slamming into the matriarch's vines and trunk, growing even deadlier as the storm accelerates. The impact grew so intense it snapped her thick vines. The demon mother shrieked as her rock-hard bark cracked under the relentless barrage. I secretly rejoiced at the power of my sand kick. Its power was far greater than I imagined, unleashing absolute physical devastation. The stones in the sandstorm sliced like tiny knives, shredding the demon mother's defense and carving deep wounds into her bark. The cracks spread rapidly. Micai wasn't about to let this perfect opportunity slip. Fighting spirit flared in her eyes. She had no flying sword or weapon, meaning she herself was the sharpest blade. After my 2 void slashes shattered the demon mother's final defenses, Micai bolted forward like a flash of light before the vines could regrow. Reaching her target, she raised a finger. She channeled all her energy right into her fingertip, pressing it hard against the beast's core trunk. The sword key erupted instantly, shredding her proud defenses and tearing through the monster from the inside. Within seconds, the massive body of the demon mother was sliced to pieces. Her distorted face froze in shock, and the giant wooden frame collapsed, hitting the ground with a deafening thud. The testing hall fell dead silent. Everyone watching the monitors was completely speechless. Heavens, that was a level 12 demon. How could a newly awakened tamer and a freshly evolved Gale Sparrow pull this off? A rookie tamer and a newly evolved Gale Sparrow had slain a level 12 elite. Stepping out of the chamber, I saw the staff staring like they'd seen ghosts. Micai realized we were in trouble. She thought this was just a standard test, not realizing she had just destroyed the guild's prized boss. Apologizing awkwardly, Micai bowed. Perched on her shoulder, I lowered my head to look innocent. But the guild manager hurried over with a warm smile, telling Micai there was absolutely no need to worry. Defeating the beast showed her incredible skill, and they wouldn't hold her responsible. Instead, they politely processed her certification and handed her a golden rank 1 Beastmaster card. Congratulations, Miss Micai. You are now officially a rank 1 Beastmaster. She took the card, ready to leave. Then, she suddenly stopped and turned back to the manager. Pointing at the massive wooden wreckage, she asked with hope in her eyes, "Can I keep the demon mother's corpse?" The manager hesitated, knowing a level 12 beast wouldn't drop any high-tier cores, making the body useless to them. He decided to do her a favor. "Since you defeated it, it's yours. We have no use for it anyway." Once we got home, Micai pulled out a chunk of the corpse and offered it to me. "Here, Gungun, this is a level 12 beast. I hope you can digest it." In an instant, I opened my beak. I swallowed the entire chunk, which was actually larger than my own body, in one huge gulp. A system alert chimed, "Devoured level 12 Demon Mother, gained 15 evolution points." I devoured the rest greedily. My evolution points hit 1,200, easily passing the 1,000-point requirement for my third evolution. However, I decided to hold off and hoard more points. My current Gale Sparrow form was already strong enough. I also had a gut feeling that my next evolution would be a massive leap. Micai knew that for us to grow stronger quickly, we had to keep hunting, so she planned to grind dungeons daily. She wanted to collect valuable beast drops to sell, helping out her parents so they wouldn't have to work so hard. But as she was lost in thought, a sudden phone call shattered the quiet. Our mother's crying voice came through the line. "Micai, your father had an accident at the construction site. Falling steel hit him. He needs surgery right away and it costs a fortune. Don't worry, I'll find a way." She told Micai to focus on school. Hanging up, Micai collapsed onto the sofa, tears streaming down her face in guilt. In her past life, she failed to protect her parents from their enemies. This time she had reborn, yet she still let him get hurt. Clenching her fists until her knuckles turned white, her gaze hardened. "Gungun, let's head out. We need to find a way to make quick money." We had to save him. She headed to the guild to find a high-yield dungeon party, but because of her low rank 1 status, people mocked her ruthlessly. A little rank 1 girl with a basic sparrow wants high-yield dungeons. Don't go in there just to die and drag us down. Go home, kid. Just as despair set in, a woman in red armor walked up, looking at Micai with approval. "You've got guts, little sister, coming here alone to find a team." Micai looked up with teary eyes, her voice shaking. "My dad needs surgery money. I have to clear dungeons to earn it." The woman smiled. "I can carry you. I'm free today anyway. My name is Lin Zihan, a level 15 rank 2 tamer. Since we're partnering up, we can enter a dungeon of our average level. I'm 15 and you're level 5, so we can run a level 10 dungeon. It's challenging, but you can handle it. I saw your certification test yesterday." After learning about Micai's situation, Lin decided to help us farm dungeons for money over the next few days. But looking at Zihan, Micai's mind was racing. How could she forget her? In her past life, Zihan was the first human trader. She led beasts to crush over a dozen safe zones, killing countless innocent lives, including Micai's comrades. Quickly hiding her hatred, Micai smiled and nodded, saying, "Thank you, Zihan." She wanted to see what this trader's angle was in this life. We would play along and settle all old scores together. Soon the dungeon portal opened, and Micai and I followed Zihan inside. We stepped into the level 10 dungeon. "It's tough in here, be careful. I'll stay back so you can train and get more experience," Zihan said gently, though a brief glint of greed flashed in her eyes. Micai nodded confidently. Perched on her shoulder, my silver feathers shimmered with anticipation for the battle ahead. The dungeon was a barren wasteland swept by howling winds and swirling yellow sand. Several beasts roamed in the distance. Those are sand crawlers, level 10 monsters. They're incredibly fast, so watch out, Zihan said, pointing at the moving shapes. Gungun sand kick, Micai commanded. I soared high, flapping my silver wings furiously to summon a small sandstorm. Swirling dust quickly blanketed the area. As native desert creatures, the sandcrawlers certainly never expected a sandstorm attack. Trapped and blinded in the howling wind, the sharp sand grains pelted them like knives, slowly grinding away their armor. Sensing the perfect moment, Micai moved. Dashing like lightning with energy gathered at her fingertips, she struck their vitals. With a soft slice, her sharp finger pierced the first crawler, easily sending it crashing down. Without pausing, she spun and finished the second crawler with another strike. Up in the air, I kept casting sand kick to ensure every single beast stayed trapped in our control. This blocked their vision, while hiding Micai perfectly. Watching from afar, Zihan was stunned. She never expected 2 level 5 rookies to kill level 10 monsters so easily. Our synergy was flawless. Her skill mastery far exceeded anyone her age. Who is this girl? Zihan wondered, her greed intensifying. Once the battle ended, I swooped down to devour the corpses. A system chime rang. Devoured level 10. Sandcrawler gained 8 evolution points. I happily ate my spoils, getting closer to my next evolution. Zihan watched in pure shock. A gale sparrow eating monster corpses. Normal beasts never did such things. Could this creature evolve infinitely by consuming monsters? The thought made Zihan's heart race. If this was true, I was an incredibly rare divine pet. She had to steal me. As we cleared zone after zone, our teamwork became absolutely seamless, fighting as one. I controlled the battlefield. Micai dealt the final blows, our synergy completely unstoppable. Zihan grew more astonished. This didn't look like a newly bonded tamer and beast, but seasoned partners of many years. Another one, Micai pointed at a stone golem battle spirit blazing. I flew high and unleashed another sand kick. Swirling dust completely enveloped the stone golem, blocking its vision even if it didn't stop its movement. Micai seized the gap, striking with sharp sword ki. The strike shattered its core, sending the giant golem crashing down. We kept clearing the dungeon, wiping out beast after beast. Micai's level climbed to 7 while mine reached level 8. My evolution points hit 980. After consuming the 9th level 10 beast, the system chime finally rang. Evolution points have reached 1,000. Would you like to begin the 4th evolution? Without hesitation, I chose to evolve. That familiar blinding light wrapped around me again, completely reshaping my body. Watching this, Lindsay Han's eyes went wide and she nearly gasped out loud. A pet evolving inside a dungeon was unheard of. As the light faded, I stood there in my new form, feeling power surging through me. My new skill clone let me make copies of myself in an instant. This instantly doubled my combat power. Then a system alert chimed. 4 evolutions complete. Branching system unlocked. Future evolutions will now require specific items alongside evolution points. These items would unlock paths to legendary beasts from the classic of mountains and seas. I nearly fell out of the sky in excitement. Even if they weren't top tier yet, it was a massive upgrade. This branching system was just the tip of the iceberg. I, a mere sparrow, actually had a shot at becoming a legendary divine bird. Having cleared most of the dungeon, the two of them gathered up the loot. The only downside, the system now had a threshold. Eating low-level monsters after high-level ones gave pitifully few evolution points. By the time we left, my points had barely scraped past 1,000. That's a far cry from the 200,000 points needed for my next evolution. Back in the city, we sold our loot for 150,000. Lindsay Han offered to take only a fifth. That's 30,000. The rest is yours to treat your father, she said warmly. Micai nodded, her eyes tearing up. Thank you, Sissy Han. It's plenty. Are we going again tomorrow? Of course. Same time, same place. I'll be waiting, Lindsay Han replied with a gentle smile. They parted ways, but the moment Lindsay Han turned her back, her face went cold and she pulled out her phone. She dialed a number, a sinister grin spreading across her face. Is everything ready tomorrow that girl doesn't walk away? And that divine pet of hers is mine. The next morning, Micai brought me to the portal. We expected to see Lindsay Han, but she was nowhere to be found. Strange, why isn't she here yet? Micai muttered, checking her watch. Perched on her shoulder, I scanned the area, highly alert. Something felt off. Danger was thick in the air. Right then, 3 sketchy-looking hunters strolled toward Micai. Hey, beautiful, all by yourself. Want to team up with us? Their leader sneered. He sized Micai up with a sleazy, lingering gaze. Sorry, I already have a team, Micai replied coldly. Undeterred, the guy took a step closer, a slick grin plastered across his face. It's dangerous for a pretty girl to be alone. Join us, and we'll double your loot. I said no. Micai snapped, her gaze sharpening. Seeing her firm stance, the man didn't push further. He shrugged with a knowing smirk. Suit yourself, beautiful. See you around. As he led his crew away, a dark shadow crossed his face. We waited for nearly 2 hours. Still no sign of Lindsay Han. Not wanting to waste more time, Micai decided to hit a low-level dungeon solo. Gungun, since she's a no-show, let's just go ourselves. We're strong enough now anyway. She stroked my feathers and I chirped in agreement. I wanted to level up fast, grind some points, and unlock that divine beast evolution branch. So we dove into a level 7 dungeon. But shortly after we entered, those creepy hunters slipped in right behind us. Their eyes gleamed with a chilling malice, like predators locking onto their prey. Inside, Micai went on an absolute rampage. Ditching her usual caution, she pulled massive mobs of monsters, letting me wipe them all out with my sandstorm skill. Our clearing speed was insane. Gungun sandstorm. On her command, I soared high and whipped up a miniature tornado. It swept through the cave, trapping beasts in a vortex of slicing wind and blinding sand. Micai plunged right into the chaos. She darted through the storm, landing lethal strikes on their vitals. In minutes, the area was cleared, and the non-stop combat pushed Micai's level up to 8. She could feel the power surging. Now she could finally forge her sword altar and advance her sword immortal class. Micai was thrilled, feeling herself closing in on her past life's peak strength. But suddenly something went wrong. Before she could even savor the upgrade, hordes of monsters started swarming us from every direction. What's going on? Why are they all rushing us at once? Micai muttered, her brow furrowed. This was unheard of in a low-level dungeon. Someone was clearly pulling the strings. Forced to fight, she channeled her sword energy as we tag-teamed wave after wave of relentless beasts. Exhausted from the endless onslaught, she slumped against a rock, catching her breath. This makes no sense. Why won't they stop coming? She scanned the area as heavy clapping echoed through the cave. Not bad, pretty girl. You're tougher than you look, a voice sneered. Out stepped those same sleazy hunters from earlier. You're completely drained now. Play nice, and maybe we'll go easy on you. Their leader licked his lips with a disgusting grin, expecting her to surrender. But just as they thought they had her trapped, I burst into the air, flapping my wings with furious power. I unleashed a raging storm. At the same instant, the exhausted Micai exploded with phantom-like speed, weaving through the thugs before calmly flicking her wrist. Droplets of blood sprayed as the men collapsed dead before they could even scream eyes wide with shock. Having lived 2 lives, Micai had survived countless ambushes. She knew exactly how to play weak. Done watching the show, Micai called out, turning toward a seemingly empty corner. Are you going to show yourself? Sis Zihan. A familiar figure slowly stepped out of the shadows. It was Lin Zihan wearing her usual sweet smile, though her eyes were ice cold. Impressive moves, little sister. I'm truly thrilled. Too bad this is where you take your final breath. Her smile twisted into a grotesque sneer. Don't worry, I'll take great care of your little bird. She glared at me with naked greed. She knew that once a beastmaster dies, their pet weakens. Within an hour, it becomes masterless and ready for a new contract. She was planning to murder Micai and steal me. Rage boiled inside me. You want to kill her and take me over my dead body. I launched myself like a streak of blue light straight at her face. Gungun no Micai cried too late to stop me. Lin Zihan's lips curled into a smirk, seeing her prize deliver itself. She reached out, unleashing her beastmaster binding force to grab me. Come to mommy, little guy, Micai gasped, trying to summon her sword chi, only to find her energy reserves completely dry. Oh no, she panicked. She'd used up every drop of chi fighting those waves of monsters. Now she couldn't even defend me. Lin Zihan sneered. Looks like your famous sword skills are useless now. Time to say goodbye. She whistled, and a pure white 6-tailed fox lunged out of the brush. Snowy strike her down. The fox whipped its tails, launching a wave of paralyzing venom at Micai. Micai's chi was recovering too slowly to block it. Staring at the incoming venom, she smiled, bitterly devastated that her second life was about to end at the hands of a traitor. Right at that critical second, my sharp cry echoed through the cave. Flapping my wings fiercely, I whipped up a blinding cloud of sand, engulfing the white fox and blocking its vision entirely. Its attack was cut short. Micai's eyes lit up. Gungun, yes. Seizing the moment, she squeezed the absolute last drop of energy from her body, channeling a faint sword light onto her fingertips. The flash of light sliced clean through the fox's tails. Blood sprayed as the beast collapsed, screaming in agony. Lin Zihan's hand snapped shut on me, but she caught nothing but air. How is this possible? I caught it, she gasped, staring at her empty palm, where only a fading afterimage remained. I let out a smug chirp from across the cave. Gotcha. My clone skill is the ultimate bait and switch. In her moment of shock, Micai gathered a second surge of chi, pointing a deadly blue sword light straight at Lin Zihan's forehead. Desperate, Lin Zihan whipped out a yellow talisman. No time to hold back now. A freeze talisman. It's weak, but if I can freeze her for just a second, I can win this. That bird will be mine. As the talisman flew toward Micai, I threw myself in front of her. Void slash. A blade of green wind clashed with the yellow seal. The talismans collided with a bang. After my evolution, the range of my space slash had doubled and its power was greater than ever. But suddenly, a strange force instantly bound my body. The freeze talisman's effect hit me completely. Zihan turned pale with shock. How could this beast protect its master automatically when Mika hadn't given any command? The residual force of my space slash merged with Micah's blue sword energy, striking Lin Zihan head-on. Screaming, Lin Zihan flew backward and crashed to the ground, spitting blood. His aura instantly withered, and he completely lost the strength to fight. Mika looked at me, bound by the freeze talisman right in front of her, her heart aching. Gungun, you really are my lucky star. She rushed over and gently peeled the freeze talisman off me. The moment it left my body, I could move again. Together, human and bird, we walked over to Lin Zihan. Mika's eyes turned ice cold. With a flash of sharp sword energy, her blade plunged straight into the white fox. The beast twitched a few times before going completely still. Utter despair filled Lin Zihan's eyes, but Mika wasn't about to give him a chance to speak. Another wave of sword energy flashed across Lin Zihan's neck. He collapsed into a pool of blood, dead. Then a warm golden light cascaded from above, enveloping Mika. Finally, level 10, she whispered, feeling the surge of power. I watched from the side, utterly amazed. As expected of a reincarnated soul, her decisiveness in battle was terrifying. While it was dinner time, I chirped happily and flew over to the corpses to begin my feast. Defeating those two only gave me a total of 130 evolution points. Compared to the 200,000 points I need to unlock the Divine Beast branch, this meal was a drop in the bucket. When could I evolve again? After leaving the Dungeon Management Center, Micai took me to a massive supermarket to find food. Gungun, let's see if we can find some high-quality beast food. I'll buy 10 bags to nourish you. I glanced at the beast food section and took a couple of bites. Only 0.01 evolution points. Talk about a drop in the ocean. Disappointed by the tiny reward, I flapped my wings and devoured every single free sample on the shelf. But my feast was abruptly cut short by the shopkeeper. A chubby, mean-looking man grabbed me. Whose useless bird is this samples are? For tasting, not for devouring the whole stock, pay up, or I'll call the authorities. Micai gasped in shock and quickly apologized. I'm so sorry, my Gungun has a huge appetite. How much do I owe you? I'll pay. The fat man sized Micai up with greedy eyes. According to the rules, you owe me 400,000. He was clearly extorting us. 400,000 for a few bites of sample food. That was insane. Micai looked troubled. She had just paid for her father's surgery and barely had any money left. Just then, a tall, slender young man stepped out from the crowd. Dressed in simple black combat gear, he stood tall with a sharp, unstoppable aura. He stepped in front of Micai and glared at the fat shopkeeper. A true gentleman admires a lady, but bullying a young girl like this is just wrong. I've been watching. That bird didn't even eat $100 worth of food, yet you demand 400,000. This is highway robbery. The fat owner's face darkened. Who do you think you are sticking your nose in my business? With a loud thud, the youth slammed a saber onto the counter. You want 400,000, right? I'll pay for her. This saber has been with me for years and is worth far more. Keep it as collateral for 3 days. Within 3 days, I'll bring you the 400,000 or the blade is yours. The fat owner stared at the saber, his eyes wide with greed. After a brief hesitation, he nodded. Fine, I'll give you 3 days. Otherwise, it's mine. The young man then caught up with Micai as she was leaving. Wait, please, hold on. Micai looked at him, her heart pounding in disbelief. She completely froze her breath, catching in her throat. It was Ye Jinshin, the saber god. In her previous life, he was her brother in arms, who fought by her side until the bitter end. He was the only one whose strength could rival her sword immortal class. During the abyssal tide, he had shielded her with his own body. Taking a fatal blow for her, he had bought her a few precious minutes. To think she would meet him so early in this life, he was still the same heroic protector of the weak. Yejinchen gave her a bright, warm smile. No need to be surprised, I just couldn't stand by and watch. But now that I've pledged my saber, I'm broke. How about we team up for a dungeon? I need to raise those 400,000 quickly, and I can help you level up. Micai scrutinized Yejinchen, a warning bell ringing in her mind. Having been nearly killed by Lindsay Han's betrayal, she was wary. Even though he was her past life comrade, she couldn't blindly trust him. She looked down at me in her arms. Gungun, should we team up with him? I stared at Yejinchen. I didn't sense any malice, though. He clearly harbored deep secrets. But running dungeons was the fastest way to farm evolution points. To become a divine beast, I had to take risks. Opportunities always come with risk. I poked my little head out and gently tapped Micai's palm, signaling her to agree. Since Gungun doesn't mind, I'll trust you for now. Micai looked up at Yejinchen with a bright smile. Great, let's team up. A faint golden light flashed deep in Yejinchen's eyes. It was working. Getting close to her was the key. Perfect. I'm level 15, you're level 10, and with your bird clearing this dungeon will be a breeze. It's a pity I pledged my saber, or I could have carried you through it alone. I rolled my eyes in my head. What a show-off. Without his weapon, Yejinchen was basically a decorative prop. Still, this was a great opportunity. It was the perfect chance to enter the level 10 dungeon. Thanks to that jerk Lindsay Han, we hadn't claimed the first clear reward yet. We could use this opportunity to level up and hoard more evolution points. Micai offered a playful smile. No worries, we can carry you instead. By the way, what's your name? Yejinchen met her gaze casually, brushing a lock of hair behind his ear, and flashed what he clearly thought was an irresistible smile. Let me introduce myself. I'm Yejinchen, the man who will become the saber god. Micai gave a polite nod. Ah, master, yeah, nice to meet you. I'm Micai, a beast tamer. Yejinchen's brow twitched imperceptibly. So she was hiding her sword immortal class. No matter, he had plenty of time to make her hand over that emblem. As for that tiny gale sparrow, aside from eating what could it possibly do, it was no threat at all. I caught the fleeting look in his eyes and instantly raised my guard. This guy definitely had an agenda. Without wasting another second, the two walked to the registration desk, signed in, and Micai led the way into the dungeon portal. Entering the level 10 dungeon, the ruins of Sand Sea. Micai was in her element. With her sword and my nimble support, we tore through the dungeon easily. Before any stray sand monsters could even get close, her precise sword energy obliterated them. I happily followed behind, playing my part as the scavenger. Listening to the continuous system notifications chiming in my head, I was bubbling with pure bliss. Life as a pampered pet was absolutely fantastic. Following leisurely behind Ye Jinshin's expression quietly shifted. He finally understood why Micai treasured this seemingly ordinary gale sparrow. This was no common bird. It could actually devour monster corpses to absorb energy and evolve infinitely. Watching me eat with such gusto, he realized that if I ate enough, I might undergo an even more terrifying transformation. This ability was unheard of, a rare divine pet, and that life-altering emblem could not stay in her hands. They had to be his. He quietly observed the surroundings, quickly formulating a plan. According to the map past this quicksand area lay the lair of the Sand Sea Queen. The complex terrain and limited visibility there were perfect for his move. Perfect time to put on a show for this naive girl, he thought. We pushed forward and quickly reached the edge of the quicksand. The howling wind and swirling sand grew heavier, making it increasingly difficult to see anything ahead. Suddenly, Ye Jinshin cried out, slipping and falling right into the quicksand. "Oh no, help me!" Micai instinctively rushed forward to save him, but I threw my body right in front of her, blocking her path. I chirped frantically, warning her to stay back. I had seen it clearly. He didn't slip at all. He jumped in on purpose. He was acting. While Micai hesitated, a dozen sand scorpions suddenly erupted from the quicksand. They surrounded us completely. Meanwhile, Ye Jinshin stood unharmed, behind the pack of monsters holding a brand new dagger. The honest smile was gone, replaced by a cold, sinister sneer as he glared at us. Micai's pupils dilated in shock as she stared at him. "Ye Jinshin." He let out a cold laugh. "Stop pretending, Micai. I know about the Sword Immortal emblem, and I know your bird is a divine pet capable of infinite evolution. Hand over the emblem and give me the bird, and I might leave your corpse intact." Micai's gaze turned ice cold. The saber god who had fought alongside her to the death in her past life was plotting against her too. Why? Reading her expression, Ye Jinshin burst into laughter. Surprised. "You really thought I died saving you back then? I was killed by the backlash of your Sword Immortal emblem. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have met such an end. I lost my very soul. This time I've returned to reclaim what should have been mine. The emblem and that divine beast belong to me." As his voice fell, the entire dungeon began to shake violently. A massive black rift tore open in the sky above. Endlessly flowing demonic energy poured out like a tidal wave, and a terrifying pressure swept across the dungeon, freezing the very air around us. Micai and Ye Jinshin paled. The Demon Realm rift opened a full 3 years early. A deafening roar shook the area as a massive level 100 Vanguard beast emerged from the dark crack. The beast crawled from the rift, its crimson eyes locking onto the three of us. Ye Jinshin sheathed his blade, forgetting his fight over the Sword Immortal crest, and screamed at Micai. "Move, run if you want to live. If we don't leave, we die here." The black rift expanded wildly above us. Thick, demonic energy poured out like ink, staining the desert ruins into a lifeless gray. Then another deafening roar shook the sky. A massive claw covered in lava scales thrust from the rift, sparking fire as it tore the air. The level 100 pressure weighed like a mountain, making it hard to flap my wings. Man, I cursed in my mind. In my past life, this level 100 beast invaded 3 years later. Now it spawned right in our faces. Talk about awful luck. Ye Jinshin, who was just making dark threats a second ago, is now pale as paper, his hand shaking on his hilt. He turned to bolt for the exit, but dozens of level 80 shadow bats surged from the rift, their wings kicking up a foul. Bloody wind blocking his retreat, too late to run. Micai gripped his sword. Though his sword key was just a faint blue light due to level limits, his eyes were fierce. In our last life he died, fighting this beast. This time he wouldn't take a step back, even if it meant death. I instantly flew in front of him, my deep blue feathers crackling with lightning. I activated my clone skill, spawning 4 clones around him. My void slashes were charged. I didn't care about its level. If it wanted my contractor, it had to go through me first. Just then, the massive 10-meter beast finally squeezed completely out of the rift. Lava scales dripped, scalding fire, turning the sand to glass. The Demon Flame Lizard. Level 100 Vanguard. Fire type. Power 999. Speed 350, Defense 800, Spirit 600. Skills, Hellfire Lava Claw and Fire Regen. Looking at these ridiculous stats on the system screen, I cursed. Even a level 90 Micai from my past life would have struggled to fight this, let alone a level 10 him and a level 8 me. This is a total nightmare. Micai, give me the Sword Immortal crest if you want to live. Ye Jingchen roared, slicing a flying shadow bat. Do you think that crest is a blessing? In our past life, you forced its power and died. I blocked 90% of the backlash, destroying my soul. I don't want your crest. I just don't want to see you die again. Micai and I froze. Talk about a plot twist. I hovered in midair, completely stunned. I thought he was a backstabbing snake, but he actually died taking the backlash for Micai. Micai's eyes shrunk, his hand shaking on his hilt. What, I didn't die from the monster swarm. That was just cover, Ye Jingchen yelled, slashing another shadow bat. In the final battle to stop that level 100 beast, you forced the crest to break through. Your soul ignited. I used my blade source and soul to block the backlash. You lived 3 more minutes, but I was vaporized. Shattered completely with no chance of reincarnation. The first thing I did after reborn was find you. I knew you'd use that crest again, so I acted extreme to force you to yield it. I wanted to take the hit. Even if my soul is destroyed, I won't let you die again. His raw scream carried deep despair. As dim light hit his face, his greedy look was gone, replaced only by bloodshot eyes and pure agony. Micai froze, tears streaming down his face. Lost memories of our past life flooded back. He only remembered his soul burning with pain before blacking out. Before he died, he had seen Ye Jingchen leap in front of him, taking the fatal blow. It wasn't an illusion. He had already died for him once. Right then, the massive flame lizard let out a deafening roar. Opening its giant jaws, it spewed a pillar of demonic lava straight at us. Watch out! I snapped out of it, diving to the front and flapping my wings wildly to trigger my sandstorm skill. A massive sandstorm rose, forming a solid wall against the fire. I maxed out my clone skill, unleashing void slashes, with my 4 clones to weave a tight defensive net. But a level 100 attack was not something I could stop. The lava tore through the sand wall. My wind blades vaporized instantly. A wave of heat capable of turning me to ash hit, feeling like 1,000 red-hot knives. Piercing my flesh, I crashed onto the sand, coughing up blood, my deep blue feathers scorched. Gungun Micai screamed in pure agony, lunging forward without a second thought to hold me. His sword chi surged, blocking the shockwave, but the impact forced him back, blood dripping from his mouth. Move, we fight together, or we all die. Ye Jingchen dragged his injured body over. He stabbed his blade into the ground, releasing his aura. Micai, you attack with your sword chi. I'll support you. Your bird will distract them. It's our only shot. Micai wiped his tears and placed me gently on his shoulder, his eyes burning with steel determination. He nodded, gripping his sword. The Sword Immortal crest glowed on his forehead, blue ki flowing like water. Let's do this. The moment he spoke, Micai blurred into a streak of light. The Sword Immortal heritage shined through him, every strike precise and lethal. Waves of sword chi sliced the charging shadow bats in half. Ye Jingchen followed close behind his blade ki, blending perfectly with the sword. I pushed through the burning pain to take flight, unleashing sandstorm again to blind the monster swarm. I spammed void slash, aiming for eyes and wings. My clones threw them into chaos. Ding devoured, level 80. Shadowbat gained 800 evolution points. Ding. Devoured, level 75. Sand Scorpion gained 650 evolution points. Ding host level increased to 9. Total evolution points 12,800. System alerts echoed in my mind as I supported and devoured. The remains sending my points skyrocketing. High-level beasts are amazing. Low-level dungeons barely gave a few thousand points, but one Shadowbat gives 800. It's a gold mine. But just as we finally stabilized and almost cleared the low-tier beasts, heavy footsteps echoed from the exit. Dozens of off-road vehicles smashed through the dungeon barrier, stopping at the edge. A middle-aged man led them, wearing a black Beastmaster robe. A horrific scar ran across his face, his eyes dripping with malice. Beside him was a level 45 golden armor Lion King, radiating raw violence. It was Zhao Kunji Boda's father. That level 4, Beastmaster. My heart sank. Talk about terrible luck. A level 100. Beast ahead and a vengeful villain behind. We are totally surrounded. Micai, you murderer. You killed my son. Shao Kun's venomous voice spat, his eyes locked on Micai. Today, you will pay with your life. And your useless bird, I will pluck its feathers and stew it for the dogs. Micai's gaze turned ice cold. Xiaokun, your son, was evil and got what he deserved. If you want revenge, bring it. Revenge. Xiaokun burst into a sinister laugh. What does a brat's death matter? I didn't just come just for revenge. He pointed up at the demonic rift, a crazed grin spreading. This rift is my work. I spent 10 years using technology to force it open. I made a deal with the demon lord. If I open the portal, he will make me ruler of this city, even king of the world. Our faces paled, another massive plot twist. The rift wasn't an accident. This old bastard caused it. No wonder it opened 3 years early right inside the ruins. It was all his scheme. Are you insane? Ye Jingchen glared, eyes bloodshot. Those beasts will slaughter everyone. You are inviting wolves inside. You are betraying humanity. Humanity? Xiaokun sneered in contempt. Who cares if those peasants die? If I get ultimate power, I don't care if the whole world burns with me. He patted the golden armor Lion King, his greedy eyes landing on the crest on Micai's forehead. I planned to wait for you to fully activate the crest before taking it, but you came to me. Today I kill you and steal it. Then I'll offer your infinitely evolving divine pet to the demon lord, completing my grand plan. With that, Xiaokun bowed deeply toward the flame lizard. Lord Envoy, this brat has the ancient sword immortal legacy and a divine pet. I will help you capture them, but do not forget your promise. The flame lizard glanced at him, letting out a low growl of agreement. I cursed internally. I've seen Shameless, but this is a new low. Colluding with monsters and betraying humanity just for power. This old bastard is completely insane. Kill them. Xiaokun barked. Behind him, dozens of beastmasters. At the same time, they unleashed their beasts, the weakest being at least level 30. Fearsome roars filled the sand sea ruins as they lunged at us. Meanwhile, the flame lizard unleashed its colossal lava claws with earth-shattering force, slamming down hard toward Micai. Its heaven-burning skill unleashed a meteor shower of dark flames, blocking every escape route. Trapped on all sides, there was no way out. Micai, watch out, Ye Jingchen screamed, lunging forward without hesitation, using his own body to shield Micai. He took the full brunt of the Golden Lion King's deadly strike. Sharp claws shredded his back, leaving a bone-deep, bloody wound. He spat out blood and collapsed heavily. Micai cried out in panic, trying to reach him, but the flame lizard's massive claw was already upon us. In that split second, I lunged forward, throwing my body in front of Micai. I knew my current power couldn't stop this blow. I knew I might be shattered to pieces, but I couldn't run. Back when everyone mocked me as a useless chick, and crickets plucked my feathers, he never hesitated to bound his soul with mine. Whenever I fainted during evolution, he stayed by my side, protecting me from harm. He treated me as family, not some useless beast. He gave my life meaning, turning me from a weak sparrow that couldn't even evolve into a legendary beast. This time I will protect him. Even if I'm torn apart, I won't let him get hurt. Ding Host's bond with Contractor has broken the limit, triggering Divine Bloodline Awakening. Ding Massive Fire Energy detected. Evolution requirements met. Begin Divine Beast Evolution. Evolve. Do it now. Even if I'm going to die, let me evolve first. I roared in my mind as a blinding blue-gold light erupted from my body, turning the dark ruins as bright as day. The flame lizard's massive claw struck the light, only to bounce back with shattered scales. Enveloped in light, I felt a surging ocean of power. Every monster core and fire energy I had devoured, along with my 10,000 evolution points, exploded at once. The familiar feeling of weakness returned, threatening to drag me down. But this time I had zero fear. I gritted my teeth, fighting the dizzying pain as scorching energy washed through every single vein and bone. Ding evolution complete. Host has evolved from Lightning Gale Sparrow into the ancient divine beast Bifang Ding level increased to 20. Potential limit broken to 100. Congenital weakness purged by divine fire. Unlocked my divine talent immune to all fire. Ding Phoenix Bloodline awakened. Unlocking the ultimate path. 9 heavens bathing fire phoenix. As the light faded, I opened my eyes. My tiny palm-sized body was now over half a meter long. No more being bullied. I am Bifang, the legendary ancient divine bird. How is this possible? A common sparrow evolved into a Bifang. Xiaokun shrieked, looking at me, his smugness instantly turning to absolute terror. The flame lizard also shivered, sensing my divine aura. My fire is pure yang, the ultimate bane of all evil. I looked down at Micai, who held me with shock and tears. I rubbed my head against his cheek with a soft chirp. Don't cry, master. I told you I would protect you. Then I whipped my head toward the lunging enemy beasts and their tamer's cold fury in my eyes. You enjoyed bullying us, didn't you? Now it's my turn for payback. I flapped my wings, sending a storm of divine fire crows sweeping across the battlefield skies. 10,000 crows burning heaven. Wherever my fire crows flew, those level 30 beasts were reduced to ash before they could even scream. This is incredible. Is this the power of a divine beast? All my built-up frustration was released in an instant. Zhao Kun turned pale and tried to run, but I wouldn't let him. Spreading my wings, I materialized right in front of him, unleashing a blast of divine fire that left his golden Lion King heavily burned. No, spare me, I was wrong. Zhao Kun fell to his knees. Micai approached him, his eyes completely cold and lifeless, pointing a sword at his forehead, his voice dripping with 2 lifetimes of hatred. Zhao Kun, tell me, in my past life did you kill my parents? Zhao Kun trembled, avoiding his gaze. Micai's aura flared, nicking his neck. As blood seeped out, Zhao Kun broke. I'll talk. In your past life, I forced your parents to sacrifice their beast origin and lives to obtain the Sword Immortal emblem. Only your bloodline could activate it. I wanted to steal it, but you took it first. My pawn was just a distraction. I designed the trap that lured your parents into that high-risk dungeon, letting them die to monsters. Even your dad's accident in this life was my doing, just to force you to surrender the emblem. Micai, please spare me. The brutal hidden truth was finally laid bare right in front of Micai. He stood frozen, trembling violently as tears streamed down. The grief of 2 lifetimes erupted. He had always blamed himself for his parents' deaths, never knowing that this monster had been pulling the strings all along. Zhao Kunyo deserved to die, Micai whispered, his voice bone-chilling. A flash of swordlight erupted, and Zhao Kun's eyes went wide as life left his body. The evil bastard finally got his karma. With Zhao Kun dead, I turned to the flame lizard. This level 100 beast was our biggest threat, and it was furious. It roared in fury, insulted at being ignored by a newly evolved beast. Opening its massive maw, it unleashed its fire skill again, sending waves of black flames crashing toward Micai, and me blocking the sky. Gungun, watch out, Micai yelled, gripping his sword as his emblem fully activated. His level skyrocketed from 10 to 30. His past inheritance unlocked, sending sword energy skyward, forming a massive blade aura that slashed down. I flapped my wings, fusing my divine fire with his strike. This blazing sword energy instantly tore through the dark flames and slammed into the lizard. It shrieked in pain as its lava scales were cleaved open, leaving a massive wound. Dark green blood sprayed onto the desert sand, instantly corroding deep pits into the ground. But a level 100 monster's recovery was insane. In the blink of an eye, its wounds healed. Its weakness is the core on its forehead. Ye Jingchen struggled to his feet, tossing his dagger to Micai. Micai, use my blade with your sword energy to pierce its defense. I will distract it. He then charged, using his remaining strength to pin down the lizard's limbs. Even as the fire scorched his flesh, he refused to let go. Now Micai caught the blade, his energy condensing into a blinding streak of light, aimed straight at the monster's forehead core. I followed, immediately channeling all my divine fire into my beak as I flew at full speed, launching our final strike together. The giant lizard stiffened, the red light in its eyes fading. Ding consumed level 100 core, gained 200,000 evolution points. Ding Phoenix bloodline fully awakened. Ultimate evolution requirements met. Evolve now. 200,000 points was just enough. I looked at Micai, who was bruised but smiling, and Ye Jingchen, who gave a weak thumbs up from the ground, then looked up at the expanding dimensional rift. Without hesitation, I commanded the system to evolve. No pain or earth-shattering noise this time, just a warm golden light wrapping around me like warm water. My divine fire transformed into the purest nirvana fire. Golden feathers sprouted, and long tail feathers resembling liquid gold began to trail behind me as my glowing crest shone. As the light faded, I landed gently before Micai. I was no longer a bee-fang. Magnificent feathers covered my body, and nirvana fire danced around me. My massive wings blotted out the sun. My gaze was majestic yet warm. I had finally achieved my ultimate form, the legendary 9 Heavens bathing fire, Phoenix. From a weak sparrow, mocked as a grounded chicken, to Gale Sparrow, then to Befang, I was now the ruler of the skies. Micai smiled through his tears, gently stroking my feathers, just like when we first bound our souls. Gungun, you did it. I nudged his palm, letting out a soft phoenix cry. Silly, we did it together. Then I soared into the sky, unleashing a massive pillar of fire straight into the dimensional rift. My divine fire, the natural bane of darkness, completely sealed the expanding rift, incinerating all demonic energy within moments. The dark mist cleared, and warm sunlight shone down once more. We had completely resolved the crisis. 3 days later, I sat on a hospital windowsill watching Micai rest in bed. Micai's father peeled an apple, fully recovered. The poison Zhao Kun used was completely purged by my nirvana fire, leaving no trace of his old illnesses. His mother sat nearby, smiling endlessly, handing me piece after piece of fruit. She kept murmuring that our Gungun is a true divine beast. Next door, Ye Jingchen was mostly healed shamelessly, coming over to freeload meals. He kept shouting about teaming up with Micai for dungeons to win the Global Beast Tamer Championship. We handed over the evidence of Zhao Kun's collusion with the demon world to the Beast Tamer Guild headquarters. They acted instantly, wiping out his faction and the undercover demons, completely purging the traitors. As for Micai, because we exposed the conspiracy and helped stop the crisis, combined with his insane sword immortal talent, the guild exceptionally promoted him to the youngest 6-star beast tamer in history. I was officially recognized as the world's only divine phoenix. Those who once mocked him for contracting a useless ground-pecking chicken now couldn't even look us in the eye. The people who once despised me could only look up at my shadow. 3 months later, in the grand arena of the championship finals, tens of thousands of fans were screaming Micai's name. In the center of the stadium, Micai stood tall on my back, with his sword drawn. I unleashed my true phoenix form, my body engulfed in blazing nirvana fire. Facing us was a level 55 frost dragon, shivering under my intense pressure, shaking so hard it couldn't even budge. The referee signaled to start. I gave a single gentle flap of my wings, and a wave of nirvana fire swept out, instantly melting the frost dragon's icy breath and trapping it securely in a ring of flames. Micai blurred forward his sword energy, cutting through the air, finishing the fight in one shot. The crowd went wild. We were the champions. The night the awards ended, Micai held me close as we sat together on the highest rooftop in the city, looking down at the countless city lights. The night breeze ruffled his hair and brushed my feathers with unbelievable tenderness. "Gungun, thank you," he whispered, gently stroking my crest. "If not for you, I still wouldn't have been able to protect my family or stop the demon invasion. I never thought the tiny sparrow I contracted on a whim would become the hero, fighting by my side my true family." I nuzzled his palm and let out a clear phoenix cry, my nirvana fire, dancing gently around us, warm and harmless. "Silly, I'm the one who should thank you. Without you, I'd still be that weak sparrow who fainted during evolution, despised by everyone, watching others shine from a dark corner. You were the one who gave me a new life, gave me a home, and gave me the chance to become a phoenix." In his past life, he fought alone with his sword for 10 years, yet failed to stop the demons, losing everything. But this time, he has his sword immortal inheritance, his healthy parents, reliable comrades, and most importantly, he has me. Together we slay monsters, conquer dungeons, defeat villains, and protect this city and everyone we love. As the sun sets and stars fill the sky, I carry Micai on my back and soar into the heavens. The name of the phoenix echoes through the clouds as my golden nirvana fire streaks across the dark sky like a beautiful shooting star. There are still countless dungeons and challenges ahead, but I have absolutely no fear, because I know that as long as Micai and I are together, we can never lose. I grew from a tiny sparrow that fainted during evolution into a majestic phoenix of the heavens, while he transformed from a betrayed reincarnator into a highly revered sword immortal. There's no better ending in this world. You protected me then, and I will stand by you for a lifetime. Side by side, year after year, we will never be parted. Our grand story is just beginning.